Hi, this is Matthew Kubley for Sports Psych in Unit 5. Um, so in this scenario with a new racially and ethnically mixed high school being a principal, using the varsity sports program to highlight positive intergroup relationships, the challenges I believe I'll face, it kind of depends on the time period we're talking about. Right now, if we're talking about, a low income area, there's the possibility of gangs and violence and maybe lack of home support. So you really want to try and make that sport a place that the student can rely on and be and depend on for his or her support. So, an issue with just starting that is there's going to be a lot of resistance to that support, where kids may be used to not getting any support, not getting the support they needed from loved ones. So it may be very difficult for them to um, put their trust in a coach or an administrator or other people like their teammates, for example. Another thing would be, in the team itself, you can have problems with, racism or um, phobias regarding religion. Any one of those things that could create tension within the team, and so that's another issue that would have to be faced. Challenges that will be most difficult to deal with, again, depending on the time period we're talking about, and I'm trying to relate it to just now kind of thing, would be really trying to develop the trust an athlete has in that program, where you can't do anything if the athlete doesn't trust you. If they don't trust you, they're not going to put their entire effort into it, and if other athletes see that, they're not going to put their effort into it, and now you've got a varsity team that's not performing at all, not going to practices, not going to lifting, any kind of functions, and it just kind of spins its wheels. It doesn't really go anywhere. So I think developing the trust of the players would be the biggest challenge, and I think the most important challenge to face. Strategies that I'll implement to make this a success, just again about creating this, I hate to say safe space, but just like an area where people can talk freely. And by freely, I don't mean uh, trouncing on their ability to speak. I'm not saying censoring them to speak freely, not to hurt anyone's feelings, but to say what's on their mind. If there's any kind of friction or tension on the team, to talk about it, to open it up, even though it may hurt someone's feelings. You can then create a dialogue with that person or people and find a common understanding, find common ground amongst them, rather than this hatred stewing and eventually creating conflict. So yeah, I would basically implement a open talking policy. Not during time for when it's time for instruction or practice, but maybe once or twice a week, where we can have a meeting and talk about grievances or issues that people just have, and can we can clear the air and just allow it to diffuse itself rather than it erupting into something bad. Um, and yeah.